how to generate cash flow in real estate. You know, cash flow is like oxygen, my friend. You can't live very long without it. So here we go. The game in real estate is cash flow. Cash flow leads to freedom, and freedom is what you really want. So you can have a small amount of property producing a good amount of cash flow, and it could be your first step to being able to retire. When I started out, making $200 or $300 a month off a property was exciting because it was $200 or $300 a month that got generated every month, right? So how do you generate cash flow in real estate? Obviously, number one is rents. Right? Rent is your number one source of cash flow. Now, rents could be for not just the apartment, but you may also rent a washer and dryer and charge extra money for that. You may charge money for a microwave in a property. You may charge money for other amenities in the property that people pay for. But for most people, rent is the main source of income. How do you generate other sources of income? Charging for parking, charging for late fees, charging for water and sewer separately. All of these things are ways to generate additional revenue in real estate. If you are a beginner, or you're in the middle, or you're an experienced person, you know that there's two sides to this coin. One is generating cash flow as a result of income, and the other is generating cash flow as a result of reducing expenses. We're going to talk about both here. One, how to increase income, and two, how to decrease expenses. So I brought you up here today to show you some of the type of real estate that is not good for generating cash flow. Big, expensive homes that cost a lot of money are like these that we're driving by, are not the type of properties that typically generate good cash flow for you unless it's an Airbnb or it is a property that is furnished that you're generating significant cash from. But typically renting these big, expensive, and these homes sell for about $1 million, is not how you generate cash flow. You generate cash flow in older properties in terms of homes that cost less money per square foot and are comparable to the rents that you get affordably priced. So the $2,000 rental would be a $200,000 or $300,000 house would be much better than $1 million house that's going to bring in $5,000 a month. Why? Because it's not going to cash flow, right? So how are you going to generate cash flow? You're not. There's too much money. Okay, so where most of us generate our cash flow is in properties I'm about to show you, which is multi-units that are bringing in cash from every single unit. The generation of that cash flow and increasing that income comes down to the quality of the product and the quality of the prospect renting the product. For apartments, if we can fix them up and make them look nicer, cleaner, more modern, stainless steel, upgraded counters, upgraded cabinets, upgraded flooring, we're going to generate more cash flow. That's typically called a value add deal. A value add deal means that we added value by increasing the property's amenities or increasing the property's look, its feel, its spec level, it's called. In other words, how nice are the carpets and the countertops and all that. Another way that we generate cash flow in residential property, of course, is by re-renting and raising rents. You can go to rentometer.com, and rentometer.com will tell you, if you put in an address, what the average rents are for that area. So by using Rentometer and some of the other things like Zillow you could put in, they'll tell you what the average rents are for that property as well. That gives you an idea of where you can push your rents. We're always trying to push rents when we can, and that's a great way to increase revenue in property. Even if it's $25, $30, $50 a month, it's important that you keep your rents up to market. A lot of people forget, and they get so far behind, it's hard to get that gap. You know, you get 200 or 300 behind, it's harder for tenants to absorb that, but 20, 30, 40 bucks, that's easier to absorb. So make sure you keep your eye on the rents. Another way that income is produced by property, or cash flow is produced rather, is decreasing expenses. So in some properties where the pools are dilapidated, we just fill them in with concrete and get rid of them. We may decrease expenses by charging RUBS, rental utility billing service. One of the most important aspects of increasing your cash flow, I'm going to tell you right after you subscribe. So make sure you subscribe. You're already successful. You're already watching this video, right? So just subscribe and I'll send you everything I know for free. I mean, how can you beat that deal, right? Okay. So another way to increase cash flow is debt structure. What I mean by that is, what's your cost of debt? Debt costs money, like everything in real estate. There is higher debt and lower debt in terms of what you're borrowing and your asset and your cash flow, okay? So oftentimes, if you can refinance and get your debt structure down, that can increase your cash flow. Recent example is a refinance I'm doing now. I bought this property in 2000. It was 20 units for $1 million. It just appraised for 4.8. And how did it appraise for more money? Because I raised rents over time. I enhanced the property, all the things I just told you, right? So now my payment on the new refinance is going to be $2,500 lower compared to what I was paying for the same amount of debt. So I owe 2.1 on the property. I was paying 4.8% interest. 4.8% interest at the time was market. Now market's 3.4%. So by decreasing the interest rate a 1.5 almost, or 1.5%, I'm going to lower my payment on the same amount of debt, $2,000 a month, which gives me an extra $24,000 a year in cash flow. You follow? So, well, not only am I going to do that, but I'm also going to take cash out. So at the end of the day, I'm going to have money, and with the extra money I'm taking out, obviously I have a little more payment, but I'm borrowing money at 3.4%, which is like next to nothing. Inflation is more than that right now. So it's almost free, especially after tax. And I'll take that money and I'll reinvest in more real estate. So your ability to generate cash flow from real estate comes down to two major things. Number one, keeping your rents up to market. Number two, keeping your expenses in line. One of the other ways that I've typically got expenses down is negotiating management fees. Some of these buildings I bought, the management fees were 6, 7, 8%. I negotiated that down to 3, 3.5, 4%, depending on the building and where it is. So again, every expense, every line item, trash, maintenance, repair, all those things are all expenses that you got to keep in line. Understand that rental real estate is a business, okay? It's a business that requires you to watch expenses, watch your costs, and be sure to constantly look to increase your revenue whenever you can by monitoring every few months where rents are, because they can change rapidly, especially in a market like right now where you've got a lot of immigration into the United States. You've got a lot of people looking for housing. In California, where I am right now, we've lost a lot of homes to fire. There's a lot of people relocating. There's a lot of demand. So some folks talk about, the demand in Texas and Arizona and all that. We got a lot of demand here in California too. You think people are moving out, and some are, but a lot of people are moving in. A lot of people are moving in because they're immigrating here for a better quality of life. And so they need housing, okay? Unfortunately, many times, those that want to build homes and want to provide housing are not able to do it because of politics, because of regulation, because the cost is not enough to make it make sense based on the rents you can collect. So that's why I like buying existing property, because it's usually a lot cheaper than buying new stuff, and you can just renovate it and be in good shape. You can make it look like new, even though it's 30, 40 years old, by renovating the property, right? And that's a great way to generate cash flow. How I've generated much of my cash flow is based on renovating, fixing up, making properties look better, and of course, turnovers and bringing property to market. I'm Paul Maguire. Don't forget to join me down below. Click the link and get my new book that I've just put out, and I'd be happy to send it to you. Just pay for shipping, and I'll see you on the next video where we'll be talking about some new and exciting things in real estate that you'll want to learn about. So subscribe, like, comment. I'll see you next time. Take care.